And I started my career actuarial journey in 2007. I did my master's in actuarial science, and after that, it took me almost 13 to 14 years to clear all my exams. So definitely, it was not an easy journey.
When it comes to work culture, see, what I have seen in actuarial, and I'm very thankful to this. People support each other. They guide us each. So whenever I used to go in exam, I used to write that bookish answer.
Okay.
And with the bookish answer, you cannot
You
clear
can't clear the exam. I
No,
agree.
you need to have application understanding, and for me, that application understanding come with the industry. When I reached to that kind of role where I was applying it,
Okay.
so my advice to the students going for higher exam: learn from your experience. When you read something, try to see how you can apply that logic in your work.
And how you manage the papers with the job, that is a very important part.
So the good thing about our profession, we all get study leaves.
Okay.
So in India, embedded value is still one of the important one companies look into to know the company's worth. Most of the decision making, especially when it comes to merger and acquisition.
If you want an actuary, what would you be?
Teacher.
One word to define an actuary.
Unpredictable. I understand there is a lot of AI tools now. You have Claude, you have ChatGPT, you have Copilot, so many things. Even I use that. I'm not denying to use them. But use them for the benefit of learning things, not make them the only tool of your learning. And that's the point. See, you are a fresher. You are starting your journey. So right now, you don't know whether it's right or wrong. And that's why you need your teacher. That's why you need your mentor, a senior.
What does it really take to become a qualified actuary? Years of exams, moment of self-doubt, missing weekends and family functions, and a constant question every actuary have: will it worth to do it? Welcome to the Actuary Life Podcast, brought to you by Future Track.
Where we help you dive deeper into actuarial journeys with real actuaries.
In today's podcast, we have a conversation about the real life actuarial journey, where we'll talk about the turning point, the struggle point, and very important, what life look like after clearing all the exams. And also, we'll talk about what actually do in the life insurance. So let's begin the introduction from our speaker.
Hi everyone, Aarti this side, and thanks for inviting me first of all. And I started my career actuarial journey in 2007. I did my master's in actuarial science, and after that, it took me almost 13 to 14 years to clear all my exams. So definitely, it was not an easy journey. It has been 16 years in actuarial profession, and I think I'm very thankful to be in profession. I do have sometimes moments of doubt, but I think it was one of the best choice I made about my career, my life, and I'm happy about
Aarti, my first question to you is how you came across actuarial science, and when you thought ki this is what I want to do it.
Thanks for asking this question. And for me, it's an interesting question actually. So I'm a commerce student, and when I did graduation in 2006, then most of my friends were doing CA or MBA. But after BCom honors, it was an obvious choice. But somehow both of the choices were doesn't look right to me, and I took a 1 year gap. I started looking for the options what I can do, and that time I came across a word actuarial profession, but there was not a lot of material available that time. And I'm not sure how many of you know, but there was something called Orkut, equivalent to Facebook. That was the first social networking we had that time. And I met actually Rakesh that time in 2007. So it's almost 20 years now. We know each other. So I connected with Rakesh, and we met first time. He told me all about actuarial profession, what it is, how much effort it will take. And after that, he actually gave me the first material as well to understand how tough or how interesting it is. So yeah, that's where my journey started, and I never looked back. It has economics, it has finance, it has stats, it has most important, I think, common sense, logic. For me, that derives most of the things because I can actually understand and I can relate to the real world what we are doing here and how it is impacting actually profession, financial institution, and as well as the people. So that I think fascinate me about this profession, and till now I am actually learning, I think. So that's all about it.
Now, Arti, can you give light on your working journey? How you started, where you started your first job, how you got that, and where you're working right now, and all.
Sure, Rakesh. So, guys, it was not easy, to be honest. When I completed my master's, it was back in 2009, and when the complete world was impacted by the global recession, especially because of the USA impact. And I didn't have any job for 6 months actually. I kept applying and everything. So I got my first break through Mercer. We did a written test, and after that, an interview, and I started my journey with Mercer. So that was a pension valuation for initial 2.5 years. But at that time, I do wanted to explore different fields as well, and that's when I got a chance to work in the life insurance. I moved there. So I worked with different life insurance company after that, WNS, then Max Life, MetLife, Majars Ireland, and currently I'm with EY India, working as a senior manager in the life insurance domain, and as well as actually I'm now started working on the GI side as well. So now you can say I have experience in pension, life, GI.
Great. That's great for all our viewers. Especially, I want what the pension, being a pension actuary, what pension actuary do, and if you give a bit of light for our all the listeners, the difference between DB and DC, defined benefit and defined contribution. That's a very, I think, an important question everyone want to know. So it will be great for our all listeners.
So first I will start with the DB and DC actually, and I did a presentation in my college about it actually. So DC you can think as your PPF.
For our viewers, I can tell you, DC is defined contribution, and DB is defined benefit. These are the two ways of segregating the pensions part. Now,
Yeah, sorry, I should have taken a step back. So in pension, there are two types of major plans, defined benefit and defined contribution. Defined contribution is easy to understand because you all must have heard about the PPF, Provident Fund. So it works like a bank account. You keep going, putting the money, and it gets invested in a fund, and you get certain return. Here, in defined contribution, the risk lies with the person who is investing, not with the person who is holding your provident fund. So basically, the person who is managing it is mostly risk free, but the person who has invested, if the market goes here and there or something, the risk lies with the person who has investing it. But defined benefit, it's a concept mostly I have seen in the Europe, US, UK, where it was compulsory for the employers to provide a pension plan to its employees. And what in this happens, that your benefit amount, what you will get as a pension once you retire, that is defined. That's why the name comes defined benefit. Now the benefit amount is defined. So because the amount is defined, it's not defined how much liability it will contain. Because if you retire at the age of 55, that person can live for another 20 years, 30 years. So how much that liability will become when that person retires? Today, that person started its journey at 25. There are 30 years to retire, and then another 30 years, that person will accumulate that pension. So, as an actuary, you need to calculate that amount at the age of 25, how much amount you need to keep aside so that you can pay that person in future that pension amount for till the time he dies. Okay, now there are a lot of interesting aspects in that, which I think if we start discussing,
Yeah.
it will go a lot. And in terms of pension, actually, when we talk about defined contribution, it's more like an investment actually, because there you want to increase your return. So it's more about how you manage fund, where should you invest. So that's where an actuary's role come. But when we talk about defined benefit, it is a lot more because you need to calculate liability, you need to verify that, you need to do sign off that, okay, I'm signing off, this much amount is enough to cover the future liability of that pension fund. So that's a big responsibility, a huge responsibility for a pension actuary to say, you have done all your best with your integrity, with your best of knowledge of actuarial profession, that these numbers looks reasonable. And that's a, I will say, a great task.
I can understand. One more question I want to add with this. In India, which is more, it is defined contribution or defined benefit? If you talk about in context to India only.
In India, till now, I have seen only defined contribution. You have PPF, which is basically a DC. You have started with a new pension scheme. That is also, if you see, is a again kind of DC only, because like I'm part of NP. I do invest in NPS. So what I do every year, I invest certain amount at certain age. I can turn that into annuity, whatever the pool I have collected. So there is no defined benefit amount for me in terms of how much I will get every month once I retire. It will depend how much I invest today, how much it accumulate, and how much it will become a bigger fund, and annuity rates at that time, definitely.
Okay, now come to the life part. Okay. That is very important. And with your journey, we also want to know what are the major teams. Like in life, actually, there are a lot of things. Like most of the people know, they just know there's a, being an actuary, we are working in a pricing and reserving. So if you elaborate all the types of teams and what kind of work you are doing, because by just knowing the pricing and reserving, it will not solve, the things. Yeah.
So I get it. And I think it comes in our mind that why it's pricing and reserving, because when we study our actuarial material, usually there are two big chapters, pricing
and reserving.
Right. So we think, okay, this must be the work we do in the life insurance industry. And thankfully, we do much more. Otherwise, it would be tough for us to survive in the industry. So let me start with this. We do start with pricing, because that's where basically you are putting a seed that, okay, this is my product. You are launching that product. So a pricing team does the market analysis as well sometimes, see how much competition is there and everything. So they put together a product. So that's the pricing team. But
in that part, I want to add, I'm not sure on that part. In pricing also, you have different teams also, which are, some of the heads, like in pricing, you have 3 or 4 departments like that.
So when we talk about pricing, so there is usually a product management team. Okay. So what that team does, that brings all the teams together in the insurance company, because you're launching a product. So it's not only an actuary who is deciding it. You need your underwriting team, you need your distribution team, you need your finance team, you need your model team, you need your IT team. And I tell you, give you an example, IT team. If you're launching a product which has, let's say, 4 or 5 new attributes, features, which are not there in your model, and your model is not, when I'm saying model, I'm talking about the data admin system, that is not compatible. So there is a possibility IT team come and say, if you launch this product or you bring this product, you have to spend X amount of money to cater the needs. And might be that extra money is not aligned with the benefit you will get from the product. So you need to know the perspective of that. Similarly, underwriting team come and say, okay, the extra cost, maybe that, because they understand the risk and everything. So if that product has anti-selection risk or anything, the underwriting team is the most close to tell us that.
Sorry to interrupt. I want to add one more question in that. Because a lot of people get confused. What is the difference between underwriting and the actuarial team?
Okay, a good question. Okay, so underwriting team you can think of as a diagnosis. They do the diagnosis of the risk. How much risk are there? We do the valuation actually as an actuary. That okay, if a person is not well, they will tell me it's not well, that person has XYZ kind of issue, or there is a risk that person is blue collar job or white collar job, those kind of things. So they will give me that data. Based on that data, as an actuary, I will put probability and the number that, okay, how much it will cost me if I insure that person. So I need that data from underwriting team. Without that, I'm helpless, because as an actuary, I need data to change it, to convert into number.
Okay, in short, I can say underwriters write the risk, what all risk you are covering, and being an actuary, I'm quantifying those risks.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
So, our tagline is making financial sense of the future.
Yeah, that is our tagline, no doubt about that.
So, it's covering that.
Covering that, exactly.
So looking at your role in specific, how do you define what you do and how does that differ from your peers?
Let's talk about my current role only. So currently in AY, because it's a consulting firm, okay. So in consulting firm, our work usually not defined for a year or two. It changes with the project. So sometime I do audit, sometime I'm working on some projects, doing valuation or something else. So In consulting, I will say my role is much more evolved because every project is very different. I might be working as an auditor. I might be working as a, I will say, valuation actuary, maybe a pricing actuary. Sometimes I'm doing as a risk actuary as well. So it gives me a different flavor in consulting. But if I talk about my previous roles when I was in industry is slightly different. What happens in industry? You stay in same team for a longer time. You get to know the different aspects of the same team from scratch to end. And when I say start to end, you get to know how you calculate those numbers. So let's take an example of reserving because I think that will be most relatable to you guys. You understand how to manipulate the data so that it can do the valuation. You understand how the model needs to be run, how results needs to be calculated, and then extracting that and then putting them in table format and then analysis and then putting finally together a report. So that's how a cycle works for a reserving. So, and it sounds that it's a small thing, but trust me, it takes 2 to 3 years from start to reaching to the documentation and understanding that documentation. uh, I would definitely want to emphasize one thing. Creating a report is easy. Putting the number tables is easy. What is the tough part? Understanding what does that number tells you. What's the story here? Like if my reserve is moving from X to Y, why they are moving? What aspect of my business is changing that bringing that moment? Is that moment justified? And why it is necessary? Because it's going to sit on your balance sheet. It is going to impact the equity amount. So those kind of relationship you need to understand, and that understanding comes with time, comes with experience. Trust me, the actuarial books will give you the basic understanding. It will lay down your foundation. Okay, what equity means, what reserve means, how you need to calculate, and with time and experience, you will understand the relationship. The more time you spend, the more you will understand better. So I think
One very important student, questions always my student ask: will they join the consulting firm, or they want to go for a hardcore industry? So can you give the pros and cons of both? Already you have covered few points in your last answer, but I want to know specifically what are the plus or minus in going for an industrial or into the consulting firm?
see, Rakesh, I don't think there is any plus and minus. Each has its own.
Okay, let me modify. What is the culture difference and what is the work difference?
Okay,
That's a
let's
better
start
point.
with the work difference.
Okay.
As I told you earlier, in consulting, your project is not fixed. Your work is not fixed. It can be fixed for some time, but then the project will over because you are consulting, right? Then it will change. And you never know that one aspect, one time you are doing, like I was doing audit, and all of a sudden, I was asked to do something on the pricing side. Okay, so there is no certainty in that, and I love about it because I enjoy uncertainty. I enjoy, okay, from putting me one place to another. So for me, it suits me. It suits my nature. But in industry, you stay in the same process for a longer time. You get to understand it. Now, some people enjoy that stability. They want to know each and everything in detail and then move to another team. So depending on what you enjoy, what's your nature, definitely I will say consulting is more challenging because there is no fixed path here. It will keep changing. But if you want to go for more stable kind of route where you have like, okay, I will stay for 3 years in reserving, then I might move to assumption setting or I move to pricing team or modeling team. If you want that kind of stability in your career, industry is a better or it's more preferable, I will say. It will give you that. But if you enjoy uncertainty, I think
In
consulting is the
short,
answer.
consultant is a jack of all trade and industry is your master of one.
Yeah,
You can say
you
that.
can say that. In consulting, it will take you to reach to that master of one because you won't get the fixed pattern.
Okay. And what about the culture difference?
See, when there is uncertainty, obviously there are more, I will say, challenges associated with it because you cannot put a fixed pattern to it. Depending on the client requirement, deliverable, what kind of work we are doing, sometimes you have to put extra hours to understand the work we need to do because you don't know anything about that work maybe sometime, what you have picked up. You need to understand what client is doing, the files, the models. It could be challenging. So obviously work culture defines from the work you are doing, okay, but in industry those kind of phases comes in small phases, and we are very well aware about that. Okay, like April, May, June, usually the valuation time where you have extra pressure time, because that's the time when you have to do valuation. But if you take actually industry's pricing team, they never know when something will come upon them. A regulation new come, and they might be like working extra hours for 3 to 4 months to just get through the regulation, change the product features, do the repricing and everything. So in pricing, actually it's kind of similar to consulting, I will say, in the industry as well. So when it comes to work culture, see, what I have seen in Actuarial, and I'm very thankful to this, people support each other. They guide us. People are interested, understanding the logic, telling you the logic. It's just that you need to go and ask that question. So work culture is good in both the places. Definitely, I will say, that delivery part in consulting is more urgent because you're delivering to a third party.
Okay.
In industry, it's like your own work. So that's the difference slightly comes, but obviously consulting has its own perks as well, then I will say.
I definitely like to echo that. I mean, the consulting environment, it really drives you because, of course, you're working towards these challenges, but you see everyone around you and they're still working towards all those challenges. So the environment really drives you because you're working to find a solution that you might not know the path to, but you see around you and there are people helping you and they're all trying to work towards the same goal. Now moving on to the next question I'd like to ask, how do you reflect in your initial years when you studied an actual concept has evolved into what you do right now?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So I started my career with pension. So thankfully, pension relates a lot with the actuarial material. You use a lot of CT1, I will say, and CT5.
CD1 and CD5, although now the CD5 have removed the pension part. For the new generation, I'll tell you, the new subject is CM1 now, which is a combination of CT1 and CT5.
Thank you so much. I'm still not up to date with the new subject name. It's quite difficult for me to remember that part. But so I will say the initial pension, definitely it was something I used most of my actuarial knowledge into calculation of pension reserves, how they are working. It has much it has data and other parts as well. But obviously the calculation part, which was the like most crux, I related with my study material. After that, when I moved to life, I think in life, depending upon the product, because the CT5 creates that foundation, how different reserves gets calculated, gross premium reserve, net premium reserve, how whole life and term or endowment will different, those kind of things. So it differs, and that basic foundation helped me to understand when I saw the big profit formulas, big cash flows. So that material helped me to understand, okay, how these things are going to work. But now I think over it has been 16 years. Now I use most of my material to understand the concept. Sometime I have to just go back, like in 2019, I did first time IBNR calculation. I joined a new company and I was supposed to do IBNR checking. And I did IBNR calculation or IBNR understanding back when I did CT6. Again, I don't know the name, new chapter, new subject name.
It is in CM2 now.
Thank you, Rakesh. So you won't believe what I did. I actually went back to that subject. I took the printout of that chain ladder method, loss ratio, those kind of things. I redid the CT6 equations, that questions, before I started even checking those numbers, because in 7-8 years when I cleared that CT6 versus when I started first looking at IBNR, it was so much time passed that I could not remember. The one thing I remember, I read that in CT6. So I just went back, refreshed my material, and I came back and I was able to understand what the calculation was doing, what I need to check and everything. So trust me, I still have all my material. I do go back many times, especially something new comes up or I need to document something, some principles. So going back to that material do help me. It's more become application based, but it is still, the need is still there, I will say.
I think that's definitely reassuring for us that we always tend to go back to our roots whenever we need to revise something.
But definitely,
Exactly.
there is no choice. You don't have a choice.
Right. I think one I think one question that the younger members of our audience is generally holding that mental barrier when they transition from a full-time student to a full-time working role is when do things start to click for you? Like when does something you do become a muscle memory for you compared to when you see a big file and it's very new to you? When does that is habitual for you?
So the first thing you start doing is the Excel, I will say. You start, because before that you mostly work on your copy pen, calculating formulas and everything. So the muscle memory starts with the Excel first, I will say, and you will use a lot of VLOOKUP, index, match. So you will feel like, okay, I'm not doing much actuarial there. Trust me, it will feel like that initially. But then once you get habitual of your muscle memory, because that is something you have not studied that much or you have not worked that much, and data size usually huge for companies when you work. So that feels like a hurdle initially, but as an actuary I have seen people passing that through quite quickly. You just need to become making a habit, like understanding keyboard and
I
Excel
think
formulas.
on that part I want to add, when you cleared your exams, that time there was no computer papers.
Thank you
Now
so much. Are
every
you telling
time-
me that I'm so
now
old?
in 2019 we have introduced the Excel. So now I think most of the
Okay.
the new people are coming up. They know Excel, how to use Excel, how to use R, how to use the computer basic thing.
Thank
Because
you.
I think in our generation,
No,
I
we did
think
not. We did not. Axel did feel like an alien that time.
at that time, I agree. I totally agree on that
So
fact.
okay, so let's move forward from Excel to, I will say, the so with muscle memory, I will say the calculation part. You start understanding the patterns. You start, like, with time. I think it takes, and it depends on the person to person as well, I will say. Some people enjoy the calculation part. Some people enjoy the analysis part.
Okay.
Right? So like I enjoy analysis more. Okay, so once the number is there, I try to understand how the numbers are moving, why they are moving, what kind of trends they are showing me. So I enjoy that more. So once those are there, it's fun to see, okay, which number is correct, which is not, why it might not be correct. I tell you one example. I was in one of the Indian industry company that time. Me and my team calculated a number as a share after working for 5 days. Continuously we were working. We calculated a number, and it was my first time I was calculating that number. And we went to our manager after calculating that number, and you won't believe that guy saw the number, and I think it might be less than 2-3 minutes. He was like, the number is not correct. That's it. Number is not correct. And me and my friend, my colleague is looking to each other. He's not giving us anything else. He just like, number is not correct. And I'm like, we have spent 5-6 days calculating this number. This guy just looked on this number for 2 minutes and telling me this number is not correct. But that guy had experience. He knew on a ballpark side that what this number should look like, and that number was definitely not matching. So we went back, we found the error definitely, but we did not realize that error because we were so engrossed in the calculation process, step by step, that we forgot to apply our actuarial judgment, how that number should look like. That comes with experience. It can take, like you said, asked me the duration. There is no fixed duration. How much you enjoy calculation, how much you enjoy numbers, analysis, and when you bring them together, it comes with time, comes with experience, and definitely the one major thing is exposure. If you're getting that kind of exposure, you will reach there early. If you are not getting that kind of exposure, it will take more time, because these things, something you have to experience again and again to make a muscle memory. Otherwise, it does not happen just randomly.
Random. On that, I have a very interesting question. See, just you have given the example, like your manager told you this number is not correct. In real life, if you are working on some model, right? Your model is giving some answers, right? But your intuition and your experience is saying this is not the correct answer.
Yeah.
Which thought you will work? You will go for a model answer, or you will go for your intuition or your experience part? And how you manage that situation?
So honestly, it depends on the circumstances and the situation I am in. So what happens if I'm doing something intermediate reporting, when I don't have a time, like I just need to, I know that this number will not impact my balance sheet or financial statement. It's something we're doing for internal purpose. I just need to push that number. So I will push that number with a disclaimer that we are still looking into this number more in detail, something looks off about it. But I know that my stakeholders right now not going to take any business decision based on that number. Okay, but at the same time, if I know, and it has happened actually, I will give you an example later on, that I know that this number is going to impact my balance sheet, my P&L, and based on that, some certain decisions are going to be taken. I have to go and tell my stakeholder, I need some more time. See, I cannot take that foolish decision, let's go with model, or let's go with my gut feeling. None of them are right. What I need some more time to do the analysis to get to the right place. Because sometimes my gut feeling could be wrong as well, because I might not have seen that situation earlier.
Right.
Okay, and I give an example. I was doing this, we do valuation each quarterly, and this was an endowment product. And from one period to another, it usually comes to like consistent movement, because it's a like closed off business. So we never see much movement in that product. And certain valuation period, we saw a huge jump in the reserve. And I was like, this number is wrong. That something, this the obvious answer will come to your mind if you see your number jumping all of a sudden 15 to 20% when they have been like going constantly 3 to 4%, 3 to 4%. So my obvious mind said, oh, this is not right. I went to data, I went to assumption, I looked at model, I could not find anything. Then I went to product document, and there I found there was a clause of loyalty bonus after certain years of period, and that loyalty bonus clicked for that policy for some of the business, and that was increasing the liability. So my gut feeling was not wrong, but at the same time model was not wrong. I just needed to know the reason. But if I could not explain that moment to my stakeholder, there will always be a doubt in my ability. She does not know what is moving.
Why the number is coming up.
Yeah, and if I am not able to justify to my stakeholder, how can they trust me, or how can they take decision based on that number?
Okay.
So I think you need to do research. You need to go deep sometime to understand what's going on. So sometimes you find the mistake, sometimes it's just correct. So depends.
My next question is, how the student, first of all, after how many exams students start looking for a job? That's a very frequently asked question to everyone. And second, once they get a job, how they manage the job and the papers?
I might not be the right person for this question. I took 14 years to clear these exams. So
but still you have completed the most important part.
Yeah, definitely. I was a very stubborn
You are
person.
having a tag of now Fellow of Actuarial Society of UK.
So I don't like leaving things in between. So
Yeah.
that I can definitely say.
That's a good thing.
So that made me reach there. But I think when you feel ready, that you understand little bit of the insurance market, pension market, whatever market you are planning to go, that you have some understanding of that. Okay, irrespective whether you have 2 paper, 6 paper, 8 paper, I think you need to understand whether you feel ready to go in the market, in the job, and ready to take that challenge. Because once you start working, you will left with a less time to do study. And trust me, if I could have done exams earlier, I would have preferred that. Because with job, it takes your so much bandwidth that your brain stops, sometimes feel like it's tired.
Agree.
So you need to feel mentally prepared when you go in a job. Whatever you do, if it's insurance market, life insurance, that okay, this is how industry works, this much time it will take and all that. But I will add one caveat into that. If once you start, even you did with the CT series, for higher exam, definitely be in industry. Because higher exams are application based. If you don't understand how industry works, how statistical decisions are made, business decision making is going on, even if you you read that material, you won't be able to relate if you don't have the experience.
Experience part.
So,
Agree.
so for me, it took me 14 years. One of the reason I could not clear some of the exams like CA1, that was like stuck, because I could read the material again and again. I tried to like remember that, and it's a huge subject, like literally huge subject. So it's just that I could not relate that with the work, because till that time I didn't have that much experience. So whenever I used to go in exam, I used to write that bookish answer.
Okay.
And with the bookish answer, you cannot
You
clear.
can't clear the exam. Agree.
No,
Agree.
you need to have application understanding, and for me, that application understanding come with the industry. When I
Okay.
reached to that kind of role where I was applying it, it happened naturally. I was reading and I was able to understand, okay, now I can understand what this concept is telling me. Whether it was a risk margin calculation given in CA1 or IFRS 17 versus Solvency 2 kind of concept. I think initially there was a question in some of the subject, IFRS 17 versus Solvency 2 differences. So the person who, one of my colleague attempted that paper, and he was like, Aarti, I gave this 4-5 answer. And I'm like, why only this? There are so many other things. And I made him like, oh yes, yes, yes. And he was like, I think I have not worked on IFRS 17. I think that's why. Like, because he did the remembering part, whatever he could. But for me, because I have lived IFRS 17 in Solvency 2, with my closed eyes, I can just tell you what are the differences because I have applied that now.
Applied those.
So
Agree.
my book knowledge with my experience helped me with that.
Agree.
So my advice to the students going for higher exam, learn from your experience. When you read something, try to see how you can apply that logic in your work.
Real.
And it will help you both ways. It will help you to clear the exam. It will help you in your profession as well. Because sometimes you are not able to maybe relate with that number because you don't know, you just calculated that number and you don't know what's going to do it with this number, how it's going to relate. But if you relate with your study material with that number, okay, you will know, I think, if I've calculated as a share, that will help in the bonus decision making. It will impact free surplus, it will impact FFA, terminal bonus, those kind of things. So you will have that logical understanding if you start applying your, like you combine these two worlds.
Okay.
So don't see them as a separate, I will say. After certain time, 4-5 years, they become companion, I will say.
Okay. And how you manage the papers with the job, that is a very important part.
So the good thing about our profession, we all get study leaves.
Okay.
We all, I don't remember any company now who does not give actuarial study leaves. They help you with the study. They give you even reimbursement for your exams and material. The only thing you need to plan it better. What I see people making mistake, like one of the mistake I see most of the time people doing, they read the material, they go through the exams or they go through the material, they do the questions and everything. But when it comes to the past question paper or revision, they take question paper, they take solution. They
Read
they do look at the question paper and then look at the solution. Oh, I will give the same answer, yaar. Like, how do you know when you didn't write it? So I advise one thing: take question paper, don't take solution. Write yourself. Write in abbreviation if you want. Write in whatever language you want. But write your own answer. Until you do that, your brain will tell you that you are the smartest person. And you will write whatever the solution you have printed out. So you need to work smart with job. Very important. You cannot, it's sometimes that material is a lot and actuarial material is definitely big. Taking the help of right people, right mentor, going to the people who has cleared exam. And I would suggest go to the people who has failed that exam 3-4 times and then cleared it. They would know every trick.
Why they have failed, the very important
exactly.
part.
Because failure makes you more, I will say, they tell you what you did wrong.
Wrong, exactly.
Like, and knowing that what I did wrong will help you to reach to that paper clearing, like with every step. Like I think I failed CT5 3 or 4 times. I'm not ashamed of saying that, but I did fail 3 to 4 times. And every time I was learning something new.
Same thing also, I have failed CT5 once and I think that's good for me, honestly speaking, because when I read that paper next time, I think a lot of things I have missed that.
Yeah.
Or I think that better for me because the concepts which I have learned after reading second time is much more
so it's
better.
Like there's a base foundation and then you created another foundation on top of that, because the first time you are still understanding the formulas and everything. After that you start applying those formulas. So it helps you. And doing past question paper is the biggest, I think, habit you should have for exams. If you do it right way, I just feel when you take the solution with you, you are cheating.
Exactly. Agree
And
on that part.
solve the question, talk to the people who have done it. Like one of my friend asked me to check their paper, like see a attempted paper, and so like I want you to check it. I don't want to go to solution, and I want you to tell me where are the gaps.
Right.
Okay, so do that, and trust me, in actuarial profession, people are ready to help. Rakesh will help you out. You can give a lot of question paper answers here to him.
Sure. And I pass it to the Aarti for the higher paper. Don't worry. For the initial paper, I am having no problem. But for the higher paper, I will surely transfer to the Aarti. Don't worry on that one.
But it helps actually.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that thing. I always like when I usually, we always went for the conferences and all. Whatever the doubts we are having, all the seniors, I think the peers which are, which are having a super experience like 20, 30 years, they always welcome us. This time also like this GCA, I met Liaka sir.
Oh yeah.
I think we have a conversation around for 1 hour.
Wow.
And he's so busy. After that, he has given me 1 hour. I think
Definitely. And I feel when we meet these industry seniors who have been, the level of thought process they have, we can't even reach there.
Exactly.
Because it's just like we're still learning. I still feel like sometimes kid, like, okay, I still don't know so many things.
Exactly.
So it's actually going to conference makes you, like, I go to that to have this kind of networking and discussion, the things which I don't know.
I don't know about the profession. Exactly.
So it is really good way of connecting with people.
Yeah. My next question is, we have already talked about pricing and reserving, right? Apart from pricing and reserving, we have a lot of other team, like you have worked for embedded value. You have just given the two names, IFRS and Solvency.
too, you have
So
modeling.
just give capital modeling team is also there. So can you give a bit of light on small, not very big? What is IFRS 17? What is Solvency team do? What is embedded value all about? And what is capital modeling? So that when the student go for an interview, they at least have an idea what is they all about.
That's a good question, and basically you're taking my question away, which I usually ask when I take interview. So I will not discuss a lot, but guys, you need to understand what is, like, there are three major reportings. One is the financial reporting, which is basically the IFRS 17, US GAAP / LDTI. Now in India, it's Indian Accounting Standard 117. So they are financial accounting standard, right? The second one comes to be the regulatory ones, which are basically ask you to keep the capital aside that you are able to protect the policy holder when a stress situation comes. Okay, so like Solvency 2, RBC, these
What does RBC means?
risk-based capital. So these are the capital assessment defined by the regulatory association, like in India it's IRDI, in Europe and UK it's EIOPA, in US it is NAIC. So they define the rules, and they are mostly very prescribed and detailed rules with the calculation and details about the stress factor and those kind of things, which basically the sole purpose is to protect the policyholder, having enough capital aside that if a market crisis, something went wrong, the company is still able to pay the claims, right? And the third comes the internal management matrix, something which Rakesh said, EV. So EV and embedded value, NBM, new business margin, value of new business, these kind of matrix, which basically the stakeholder calculate, wants to know that beyond any regulation issue or beyond any financial, I don't want to know. I want to know what's actually my company worth.
Oh, okay.
Like, I want to understand that. I understand there is a regulatory situation, it's a financial, I need to apply all this. But still, let's keep that aside. What my company going to worth?
Wow.
So these are the three main framework in which we reports number, and it's very important for an actuary to know what are the these frameworks, and each country will have their own regulatory body. They might have their own financial body, or they might be adopting to IASB, International Accounting Standard Board, let me say that.
I know you have all, in daily life you are using the short form, but
Yeah.
our viewers are, very freshers.
So
that's why
I was trying to remember the full form of IASB. It's just, we don't use. And then internal matrix. So in India, embedded value is still one of the important one companies look into to know the company's worth. Most of the decision making, especially when it comes to merger and acquisition, companies want to know and they go for embedded value calculation. RBC, risk-based capital, is something is compulsory for a company to calculate. So under in India, it's IRDI who basically make sure that they are calculating that amount and it's calculated correctly, and each company needs to submit their numbers to IRDI. And the third is the financial. In India, we just there was a draft that companies need to complete by, I think, next year or something, Indian Accounting Standard 117. This is a new version of our accounting standard, and most of the companies are working towards it. So each insurance company, two definitely they are calculating, RBC and Accounting Standard 117. Embedded value, usually they calculate because every shareholder board person wants to know what their number looks like, what's their company's worth. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, Rakesh.
Yeah, I think one thing which I want to add, what is the capital modeling team do?
When you say capital modeling, it's the ALM part you are talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a fancy name. People like assets liability modeling or asset liability matching, I will say. So guys, you need to understand, when we talk about actuarial, most of the time we talk about liability side. We keep talking about reserves calculation, but there is another side of the balance sheet, which is assets. And in balance sheet, they both need to be equated.
Okay.
Right? So the discounted on the liability side driven by the asset side. How much my assets will earn, that should be ideally my discounting. So that's why we call assets and liability matching. So if your assets are earning say 2% and you're discounting your liability with 4%, basically you're discounting your liability at a higher rate. You are keeping lower liability, and that's the discounting low, I will say, time value of money, right? So you need to have that balance, and the capital modeling team basically assess how much my assets are going to move or earn over the time, and they look at the investment strategy, how different assets will behave, my reinvestment will work, because you will get coupon, you will get maturity benefit, then you will invest it again in longer time, and it goes for a long time, because if you talk about a life insurance product, it can go for 30-40 years. So you're taking that. So what they are doing, capital modeling, they are balancing these two aspects. So this is the layman language I will say, okay, this is how it works. Personally, I don't have much experience on capital modeling, but that's my understanding, I will say, on the capital modeling aspect.
Okay.
So following up, as you said, like you do a lot of valuations in these scenarios. What do you think about some assumptions that are highly important in your day-to-day that a student actually should really focus on?
Oh, assumptions. All the assumptions I will feel important, but definitely discount rate.
Very important.
Especially if you are in a life insurance sector, because our contracts go for a long term, discounting becomes a very important factor. And after that, mortality, because we are talking about life here, so most of our claims are based on survival or not survival, basically. So mortality becomes another one. The third one, I will say, lapses. Because we see a significant lapses, especially in the initial years. When I say lapses, basically policyholders stop paying premium. That's what we call a lapse policy. So people buy policy, but whenever there is a crunch in the family about cash, the first thing still Indian people are doing is stop paying the premium. So that creates a lot of lapses for us, and how it impacts, you will read a lot about that in your actuarial material once you reach to CT5, and then later on I think SP2 and SA2, you will read about that. And another one I will say is very important in insurance companies, the expense one.
Expenses.
And expenses, I will say, guys, it is a very subjective application assumption. I think there is a very dedicated chapter in one of the SP2, I think,
in CD5 also we are having a good
chapter on the expense allocation. And it's a very interesting one, how you allocate expenses and everything. So that's another one. And I will say my material created that initial base for me to understand how these applications are getting calculated and impact the reserve. So do study those subjects carefully, I will say.
Let's move on to our final section, which is
final section, that is rapid fire round. So be strict with the one. You have already seen the coffee with Karan. So we want one word answer only.
Okay, I will try.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the most difficult actuarial exam?
For me, it will be CP1.
CP1, okay.
If you want an actuary, what would you be?
Teacher.
मेरा profession जाने की जरूरत है.
learning from the best.
Most disliked corporate jargon for you.
For me, it's a top side adjustment. If you anything does not look right, you just do a top side adjustment, manual adjustment. I just don't like that.
One word to define an actuary.
For define an actuary,
Yeah.
One word.
unpredictable.
Will AI take your job?
No, definitely not.
Okay, final one. One word to describe your actual journey till now.
Definitely, my journey till now. Roller coaster.
Awesome.
So 14, 16 years.
16 years and
till now.
definitely. Oh,
And one more question I want to add. Very important. In the beginning, also I said, after clearing all the exams, how you feel and what is your life after that? Don't you think you miss your exams?
now I started missing it. So I think till you are a student, your life is kind of structured or move around exams, and you have like a universal excuse for everything. If you don't want to go to a family function, I have exam. You don't feel like getting out of bed. I was studying late till night. I don't want to get up. So you have like a universal excuse. Whether you are actually doing it or not, that doesn't matter. But you have excuse, right?
Excuse.
But I remember when I cleared my last two exams were CP1 and SP2. I appeared from IAI, and the both results came on I think Jan end in the night around 12th or something. My family, and it was COVID time. My family was sleeping, and I got the result first, then second, and both pass. I was expecting one pass and one fail, but yeah, thankfully I cleared both,
Both the exams.
and I shouted because it took me 14 years to reach there. So I was happy. It took me I think a week or so to just accept.
Except
Because I was,
qualified actually.
yeah, because I knew that I will clear one exam. For another one, I was less than 50% sure that I will clear that exam, but I might have done something right there. So, but after clearing your exam, you get a sense of relief, especially when you are doing something for such a long time, and at times you feel like that you will never reach there. Uh, so when I reached there, it did give me a sense of relief. Okay, I achieved it. Then I think after some time I started feeling what to do next, because I was chasing that goal for such a long time and didn't think what comes next after that. So that was something I was trying to figure out for a long time. And that's when I moved to consulting from industry, because I wanted another challenge, because one challenge completed. So I was like, okay, let's move from industry to consulting. And that's what I did. And I'm happy because consulting keeps giving me challenges. So about missing exams, I do miss some time.
That's why you're writing extra exams now.
I am trying. Let's hope that I can do that. I'm trying to do that. But yeah, consulting makes you study a lot, actually, I will say. Because every project is so different. You might have some exposure, you might not have some exposure, and you keep going back to your exams paper. I keep going back to the research paper. Recently, I was doing a RFP, we were submitting a project, and needed to read a lot about stresses and risk, how they work together. So I read that, and I went back to my ERM, the subject I'm studying right now, as well. So I did a research on a lot of paper, how they calculate probability distribution, correlation, those kind of things. So sometimes I still feel like I'm a student. There is a lot to learn even after becoming an actuary.
Right.
So that journey doesn't stop. If you don't want it to stop, it will never stop.
Never
So I think it's up to you, whether you just want to say, okay, I'm done, I don't want to do it. Otherwise, I think people are studying till age 60 as well, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
Myself, no, I'm 45 and still studying the exam. Not a
so no, I'm just saying after even actuary, people keep doing something.
yeah.
So before that, I did IFRS exam, this IFRS 17 certification I did. But it helps just because we become an habitual of reading. You want
that
to
is one
keep-
of the reason our body has make it CPD, continuous process of development part is
exactly.
there.
And it's
So that-
important actually. If people take it seriously, it's a very interesting aspect
Interesting
of
aspect
the
of the
profession.
profession, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It just people need to take it seriously.
Take it. The last thing, Aarti, basically, what advice you give to the next generation And second, apart from exam, for a fresher, what other things they must learn before going for a job or an interview?
Okay. So my advice to generation is, and I might sound like a old broken record here. So, but I understand there is a lot of AI tools now. You have Claude, you have ChatGPT, you have Copilot, so many things. Even I use that. I'm not denying to use them, but eh, use them for the benefit of learning things, not make them the only tool of your learning. So understand your concepts, get more clarity using these tools, but don't get your all understanding or clarity from these tools. Your material gives you the basic understanding. You need to understand that. You have to read that. You have to understand how different product works, how different calculation works, different assumptions work. And trust me, a summarized version of this might help you with one or two exam, but when you come to profession, that summarized version will not help you out. So do the little bit hard work, I will say. Use ChatGPT. I do use. Just take the advantage of that tool to increase your learning, not to summarize that learning you are getting. So I think that's the one advice I will give. I have seen people doing that. Sorry.
Not a problem. I think that is a problem. I think that is a challenge everyone is facing right now. So don't, because we don't know will chat GPT is correct every time or not. And especially for our profession.
Yeah.
Because our books and everything is very, the material is very less
And-
already.
And that's the point. See, you are a fresher. You are starting your journey. So right now, you don't know whether it's right or wrong. And
Yeah.
that's why you need your teacher. That's why you need your mentor, a senior who knows the material, who knows the subject. So I give you one example. I actually did with ChatGPT. I gave some wrong IFRS 17 commands there. I wanted to know because it was slightly complicated. I wanted to know if ChatGPT can help me or can give me the right answer. I knew the right answer, but I gave wrong answer. ChatGPT gave me wrong answer. Then I told it should be the right answer. Oh, you are right. This should be the right answer. So I did test ChatGPT once and twice to see if that can basically give me the right answer or not. But the problem is IFRS 17 is such a subjective. Even we people who are working on IFRS 17 sometimes don't know. We go and connect with our seniors. We go and connect with the industry and we discuss and we figure out a solution, because sometimes there are problems which doesn't have a solution because that problem is unique or the first time.
First time.
So ChatGPT won't help me there. And we still understand that because we have that experience. But you guys are still getting that experience. You are fresher. So even if you're getting something, validate that information from your material, your peers, your teacher, your mentor. Just don't blindly rely on the information you are getting. I will say that for sure.
If time permits, I would like to ask one last question from my
Yeah,
side.
go ahead, Govind.
I think there was one question left from the.
Yeah. So basically, apart from the papers, what you are looking for what you are looking in a fresher when you're taking interviews?
Industry knowledge. One,
Okay.
for sure. Are they up to date with the what's going on in the insurance industry, pension industry, anything which is impacting our industry? Like the question you asked, AI. There are people who using AI, but they don't know actually how to use that AI for our profession. Okay. So those kind of things, like there are so many actuarial magazines are there, so many interesting.
Can you name some of them? Because that is very important. Again, that is actually my cross question. Like, from where they get the because in our material it is not everything is there. So where they can get that?
You can go to IRDA site. You will see a lot of draft papers. There are a lot of memorandum that you get.
Okay.
You go. I think recently there was even in newspaper. Recently there was a article on the commission. The IRDA is about to change the commission structure. So as an actuary, you need to think, if my commission structure change, how it will impact the product. Whether it will change the pricing, whether it will impact my reserving, if it will, whether it will go high or up, and how it will overall impact the financial health of the company. So as an actuary, as a student, you should ask this question. Then you have Indian Institute of Actuaries launches every month Actuary magazine,
Yeah,
as well
exactly.
as the IFOA UK Institute also launches the magazine. And if you go to these sites, IAI, IFOA, SOA, they all have their research and library section,
Okay.
where you go and whatever topic you want, you will get from basic to higher level material to understand. If you want to research about solvency to IFRS 17, even solvency to versus IFRS 17, you will get that as well, kind of things. If you are basically doing some typical assumption, like you read something about expense assumption in one of the subject, if you go and type, you will find a lot of articles and research paper about expenses there.
Okay.
It's on you
How much knowledge you want to get?
but at least read the latest news about your profession, the profession you want to enter, but you don't know what's going on in that profession. That's what bothers me sometimes. So
Agree.
like
Even I tell you one more thing, very important. Even I found a lot of student has clear 4 5 exam. If you ask about the higher subject name, they don't know the higher subject name also.
yeah,
If I ask what is SP1, they don't know about what is SP1. So
definitely.
that is a basic challenge the student are having. They're just going to the coaching institute, or okay, they will whatever the teacher is telling them, they just learn and work up or do the question based study. They don't want to research. That is the challenge we are having right now, I can
But
say.
the fun in actual profession is research.
Research,
This is
exactly.
the fun, because it will never end. You will see, finance world is the world which keeps evolving,
Exactly.
and every industry in the world evolves around finance. So we people say it's a dominant fact. If the finance industry collapses, everything will collapse eventually. Okay, so we are going to work for that industry. Insurance is part of the BFSI sector. So mug up or not mug up, that's up to you, but still do your research.
Research part, exactly.
Understand.
Last
Fine.
question from my side would be, reflecting on your actuarial journey till now, do you have any regrets or something you wish you had done differently?
Oh no, I don't regret. So my journey has been, as I said, a roller coaster. I started with pension, then I moved to life insurance industry. But the work I got initially was, I didn't like that much, but later on that have given me a good exposure. So that time I might have complained a lot, definitely to my manager. But later on I realized that basic understanding of that, how those uh, basic data movement or everything I was doing, which I was hating that time, helped me to understand the numbers much more better later on. Because if I didn't have that understanding, I would never understood the results. So everything comes into a picture complete when you look later on. In that phase, you might complain. Like my max life experience in Indian industry gave me a lot of exposure how different teams come together and take a lot of business decisions, strategic decision. Other teams who does not know about actual profession, but their concepts are so strong about the insurance market that they takes it helped actual team to think a different direction. How should we do calculation, or how should we like connect with different dots? Then I think my next journey was MetLife, and it was quite long, and COVID came in that time only, where I learned how to connect with leader. Like so I was not doing a lot of calculation that time, but I was more guiding my team, making them sure that they have everything they need. So I learned that being organized, being structured, how to communicate with my different stakeholder, those kind of things come in my later career. And now in being in
Consultant part.
consulting, it's old. I still feel like that, okay, I'm still new, I'm still learning, moving from one project to another, or running 2 or 3 projects together. It's a different journey altogether. So no regrets, and definitely a roller coaster for me.
I think I think that definitely speaks volumes. When you have decades of experience and you still cannot say a single regret, that speaks volumes.
Thank you, Aarti, for giving us time and sharing your experience with all of our students. And in the end, I want to continue the thing which Aarti told. कि मैंने देखा है बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स आते हैं कि पहले दिन ही वो चाहते हैं कि फर्स्ट डे व्हेन दे जॉइन द कंपनी विल गिव देम हाउ टू राइट द इंश्योरेंस प्रोडक्ट. दैट विल नॉट डन. इनिशियली आपको बच्चे डेटा अंडरस्टैंड करना पड़ेगा, कॉपी पेस्ट डेटा मैनेजमेंट, वो चीजें अंडरस्टैंड करनी पड़ेगी. आई थिंक एवरीवन मस्ट वॉच द कराटे किड मूवी.
Yeah.
There, I think from there you can understand why that person is giving the training. Same with the actuary also. You have to first play with the data only. So you have to be patient. Like you are having a patience while clearing the exam. Same thing, you have to be patient with your work also. From day one, they will not give you the how to create a. They will not say, ki, okay, write the product. How to find the premium of this product. They will not give you. Okay. From this, I think this is the end of conversation, guys. Please, at the comment section, you can tell us how uh, like or not like this podcast.
Definitely like
Like
it.
I know that they like, but plus, if you can give us suggestions, ki what is our next podcast, the topic for the next podcast, and second, if you have any questions related to life insurance or in this podcast, you can put it in the comment section. I'll surely make it. Aarti will answer those questions to everyone. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Aarti.
Thank you.
Stay
Okay.
tuned for next